Hey, this is the documentation video of the panel manager. What I discuss in this video is how these buttons are working and sliders, etc. Then I want to show you how to set up a Blender as best as possible. You can see that here. If you go to documentation tab, and then tips on making the best Blender installation. And yeah, let's start with the add-on. So you see that I have here the panel manager installed. It was initially somewhere here, around here somewhere. So I drag it a little bit on top. You can drag that on top. So if you save your startup file like this, then the next time you start a Blender you will see the panel manager on top. Maybe that's handy, because there are a lot of things, yeah, we don't need that much, like keying sets, audio. I think we are not using that much. I think we will use the panel manager much more than the other settings. What we see here on top is a drop down. You can categorize, have category of all the add-ons. For example, I want to see all add-ons that are under the category camera. We have camera rigs and viewfinder, and it's the same if you go to edit, preferences, add-ons, and then you go to camera, and then you will find the same camera. But I know there is an add-on, I think a 360 rotation, turn around camera, I believe. That is also another add-on under the for cameras, but it doesn't show up. And the reason why that is because the creator of this add-on, he didn't put this add-on under the category camera. So let's find out what category that is. So if I type here turn around, I think, then I set this on all, then I see a turn around camera. So we can easily find a name. We can also search here for author. For example, I have add-ons by Mark Kingsnorth. So if I type in this name here, I see all the marks as add-ons I have installed at the moment. That's pretty handy. And sometimes you can find add-ons by filtering description. So if I type in camera here, now I find my turnaround camera. And then you can also, because you have a long list of add-ons over here, you can also, sometimes you only want to see the enabled add-ons, and then work from that. So if you click one add-on like color box here, then I can see here an info panel. I'll make this a bit bigger. Info panel, then I can see the authors, or author, and then the description and the location where I can find it. That's pretty handy, because yeah, like, let's see, perspective plotter. This case there's no description, no location. So if you have perspective plotter installed, you need to go, and you cannot find it, you need to go to the documentation tab, to the documentation, and find out where you can find the perspective plotter. So I did that. I went to the documentation and I found out, yeah, you have to press 0 on the keypad. 0 on the keypad, so you can look through the camera, and then you can see the perspective plotter over here. Let me see. All right. So I have enabled in the mod workspace. I come back to that later. But I'm now in the general gen workspace. So I can enable it here. So I see now my perspective plotter over here. Perspective plotter. And if I go out of the camera view, then it disappears. So yeah, so you can make your own notes. That's pretty handy. If you change something and add preferences and you enable or disable an add-on, like here, I do it now, and then let's go back to the camera. We look in all add-ons, and now you see here turnaround camera. I refresh the list, and now I see turnaround cameras on. I click on that, turnaround camera. I see here all the workspaces that have the workspace filter on, and now I can decide. I click on that, turnaround camera. I can decide, oh, where do I want to have my turnaround camera and what workspace. So I don't need it. I don't need it here in this workspace, because then I have an extra tab. I don't need it. So I want to have it in my Addon animation workspace, and I don't want it to have anywhere else. So that's also pretty handy. I think, yeah, this is cool. I love this feature, and that is export as JSON. So I made some changes. I'm now going to export it as JSON file. So I go to my end panel JSONs where I save that. And this way you can make some presets. So it is now yeah, and then I can also load the previous settings. For example, I have a light setup. That means I enabled only the most important add-ons. I can import it back as well. So I can import here. So I go to my JSONs, I go to my light setup. So, and now everything has changed, I mean. So I just have a few tabs. I'm in the material preview. What I'm saying, material workspace. I have a lot of add-ons related to materials because I'm very into materials. So there's still quite a few, but if I load my latest one, so I import from JSON. This is the one we just saved. I import it back. And then I go to my material, and I'm supposed to see a lot more. And why is that? Refresh list, import from JSON. Oh, I still see a few. I'm not sure why that happened. Yeah, I have everything here. I thought I have much more. Let me check. So I'm going to go in description, material. Yeah, I have, so let's drag this on top. So procedural, yeah, I have that. FBX format. Yeah, that's because there's okay. Yeah, that's in the description. So I want that in the general workspace. Instamat, yeah. Smasher Pro, there. Material nodes, I have that in the workspace mod. Material node code. I miss one. I thought I have FX nodes also installed. Let me check. So if you, that's why. I didn't select an object, and then if you select an object, then you see other steps. So that's it. Next, so I discussed all these, so the info is pretty handy because sometimes you don't see what add-on is about. For example, if you go to the workspace settings, yeah, and this is exactly the reason why I designed the end panel manager. You can see that here. So why the end panel manager? So it's hard to find an add-on in the workspace filter. So before the end panel manager, we had, and if you want to, if you are using workspaces, you had to go through this list, but then you see import export, and it is very hard to get through this list. You can filter, yeah, you can search here. That didn't work for a while, but it only works for, yeah, that works partially. It works on the name only. Well, name, and in this case the category. But it's a little bit awkward. Here we can do much more. We can also sort by alphabet. So that's handy. We can search much easier by name, not so I have much faster results. I can also look by name, but sometimes the search is not in the name, is in the description. So yeah, I found this much easier to work than with the workspace. Here in the workspace, it affects only one workspace, in the workspace you're working on. And this one, the end panel manager, you click on an add-on like modulator, and then you see on what workspace have a filter, and then you can decide. So you, let's go. So I select the modulator, and then yeah, check what happens. I click on more gen or modifier tools. Here you can see that I have the modifier tools enabled in nearly any workspace. But the modulator, I have that only enabled in the assets workspace. So if I go to assets, then I go to modulator, and then I click on selector. Then I see all your module assets over here. Next one, yeah, that's why I designed the end panel manager. So that's much better filtering and searching, etc. And you have an overview of all the workspaces. There's one thing I like a lot, and that is, yeah, I want to have a complete. If you want to have a complete overview, even better than in the end panel manager, you can do that. If you have Excel, I'm not sure if you can do that in the online version of Excel. I will check that. But if you have Excel or another JSON viewer, you can go to data, and then you say get data from file, and then there's a JSON file. And this is the JSON file, the export we used a while ago. So you import that one. It loads, takes a little bit of time to load. And then you see there are two tables in the JSON list, and that is a list of add-ons, a list of workspaces. You click on the add-on list and then you right click on it, and then you see the option drill down. So you drill down the list of add-ons, and then you go to this list, you right click on it, and then you say on to table. You click OK. Click OK, and then you see an icon over here, and that gives you all the headers of the columns. And now we can see that over here. And now we need to drill down the workspaces for each column. So if you click on here, you can do two things. If you expand to new rows, then you will get like double entries. I will show that later. Or you can extract values. It's a bit hard to explain, but I'll show you how that looks like. So that's finished, and then you go to close and load, and that will load the table into the Excel worksheet. You see that we have now double entries, and that's because we have this add-on, the GitOps, workspace gen for general, and a mod for modeling. I did that because now I can go over here and I can go to modeling, for example. I click OK, and now I see all the add-ons I have in the modeling workspace, and I see all everything here in one view. So this is handy because sometimes you don't realize what you have installed. For example, I had Patek installed, and you can find that if you go to edit and a mesh, and then you go to Patek. So that, for me, that gives a lot of insight in how I arrange my workspace. For example, if you are here, I go to the mod workspace. So these are all the modeling tools. If you are Mesh Machine fluent, of course I will add box cutter and hardops as well, and tissue, etc. So yeah, at this point, a few days ago, I didn't realize I have Patek installed until I opened this in Excel, and I said, oh wow, yeah, I didn't see that. Maybe also fit lattice, etc. So yeah, that's pretty handy. Yeah, you can see, you don't see Patek here, but if you add, for example, here I add a mesh. Now I want to add only an origin, and you can find it in extra meshes. I don't have that here, so I want to enable the extra mesh add-on in the workspace mode. So I click on extra mesh, then add mesh, and I want to enable it in mod. So, and I can save my preferences in this case. So that's these preferences. These preferences are for the add-ons, which are all these settings here. If you save preferences, that affects all these settings and what add-ons you have enabled. Yeah, what add-ons you have enabled. So I can save a preference. You can do that. You save preferences. And if I want to have my extra objects next time Blender starts up, and I want to have the extra objects in the mod workspace enabled, then I have to go to default and save startup file. Then if I press Shift A now I see here object origin only, and if I go to Patek, I forgot the shortcut, so let's look for Patek, I believe is the name, Patek. Click on Patek, shortcut. Yeah, I will make a note here. I believe it's Shift Alt, Shift Control Alt X, I believe. Shift Control Alt X. Let me check if I'm correct. Shift Control Alt X. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's good. I make a note here, so next time I can find it easily. So that's handy. Yeah, that's Patek. That's nice. Done. For retopo, so we got that. Now I forgot what I was talking about. Yeah, we have seen why I designed the panel manager. Yeah, there is an issue at the moment when you update an add-on. When you update an add-on, for example, there's an update of the GitOps. So there is an update of the GitOps. You install GitOps, and then it might happen that you cannot find GitOps. So you are here somewhere, you install GitOps, an update of it, and then suddenly it disappears over here. Then you go to the panel manager, you refresh the list, you look for GitOps. That's not like that. So GitOps, and then you try to enable or disable, it doesn't work. And that's because if you go to the Blender's workspace filter and you scroll them down, then you will see here somewhere unknown add-ons. And then if you uncheck the GitOps, over here, not here, but here by the unknown add-ons. If you see unknown add-ons there, you uncheck it, check or uncheck that. Then you can enable and disable it here, like GitOps, and then you go to here, and then you can enable or disable it here. No. Let me check. I have to refresh list, I think. So go to GitOps. Here it is. All right. The roadmap. Yeah, we want to solve this issue, and there is something in the documentation. Yeah, for now. If you install, this is important, so if you install the panel manager and you have your workspace filter on, yeah, then you don't see the panel manager, because you need to go first, for the first time you need to go to the workspace, and then you see here panel manager, for example, so you need to click that on like that. And then you see panel manager, save your save the startup file like that. Next, so that's important. Yeah, now let me talk about tips on making the best Blender installation. I made a lot of videos. Yeah, we all know how to download Blender, right? So you go to blender.org, you download Blender, and then you find Blender over here. Blender, I have my Blender stuff, then I have my downloads and Blender versions like that. So find your blender.exe. I add it always to my taskbar. You see here a lot of Blender versions. And then you start a Blender like that, so that's not too hard. Then the next one, what was that about? Next one, edit preferences. That's very handy, so let's jump back to this page over here. Yeah, so you might want to set, you go to system, and there you will want to set the render device. So I go to preferences, a system, and I can go to this tab. In my case I have to click on CUDA and enable this one and switch this one off because my CPU is a bit slow. That's number one you want to set properly. And then you the typo here, run, should be run. Save and load. So I go to save and load. And if you are a developer, you will want to have, even if you're not a developer, you want to switch on auto run Python scripts. Sometimes that's the reason why something is not working. Then the add-ons, these add-ons, if you look at these add-ons, these are very handy add-ons. For example, like modifier tools, very handy because, let's go over there. So I have here modifier, the modifier like a bevel, and I really like that. And then, if you have a few of those modifiers, and then it's a bit awkward to click on this drop down and then click apply. So the modifier tools add this set of buttons over here, and then you click apply all, and then you have all the modifiers applied. Although you can also do this. Array. I learned that from Master Zian. So I click on Control A, and then you click visual geometry to mesh. That also works. So I forgot that. So it depends on you. If you want, you can delete all. Anyway, there are other ones. If you're a developer, you want to have icon viewer, and it's key free. Import images as plain, very handy. I discovered that dynamic sky, actually, it's pretty nice. But it's not an HDRI, but it gives good light. Maybe you want to try it. You can watch this list here, and then file paths, and that is handy. So if you go to preferences and then file path over here, so you can select your fonts. If you have another directory with fonts, you can click on that. You can have a standard render output. What I have here is my asset library, because we have now the asset library Blender 3.1 and higher. Well, the latest Blender versions have the asset here, this one. So if you go over here, asset browser. So I have here my materials, and that is the directory I specified here. Blender stuff, assets. That is handy also. Next one is, yeah, you save preferences. I will show you the difference between save preferences and save startup file. So if you go to preferences, so if you save preferences, that doesn't save anything you have set over here. For example, if I resize this window, I save preference, it doesn't affect that. But you save preference, yeah, the name says it. It saves the preferences as you have set here, like the add-ons you have enabled or not enabled. That's that. But save startup file, default save startup file, that saves, yeah, everything you have set over here. So if I resize this window and wait, let me delete all these ones. Oh, I cannot I do that? I do it this way then. So, and for example, next time I will start with pseudo object layer. I say that. And then in the mod I want to start with machine. And then if I go to default save startup file, then I will see, and I load Blender next time, then I will see the next time I go to the mod tab, I will see machine here, and I will see this window resized exactly like that, and I have here my viewport shading. So this is it saves the whole Blender file like that. Then oh yeah, so the next step, so you download Blender, you did preferences, then you save the preferences, and now next step is to make one workspace as good as possible. So for example, you check the size of the timeline here, you check also how you want to have this exactly. Do you want to have it like this or this or this maybe? That precise. And if you want to have the collection, click on the collection and what viewport shading you want. You want to start with this one. Oh, it's a bit slow. You want to start with the material preview, and you want to start with this add-on and how the size of this one, etc. You can also go, well, I always use Eevee, but sometimes I use cycles, and then I have to go, by default I have to go to device CPU, select the GPU, and then I have to, the light pass, I want 4 or maybe 3 bounces, and then I want to have the samples, 320 is enough for me. So, and then I go back to Eevee, and if I save my startup file, then I will get exactly like this as I see it now the next time I start a Blender. And also if I go to cycles the next time, I will see here already the GPU and the pass, free pass, the bounces, etc. And usually I switch this off. Yeah, and a good one is the tab compositing. So by default it's like this, something like that, I forgot, but you will want to have it like this. You want to have an image editor here and put this on the random result. Yeah, there's no random result right here. Probably you want to start a little bit small like that. You can select any tab. So, and then you can save startup file. So those are two different things: save startup file and save preferences. And often when you make any changes and you think next time I want to start up Blender, you have to set it up. But be careful with save startup file, because if you have a lot of things like what I did a while ago with the modifiers, like this one, bevel array. So if I save my startup file and I did some things here in the scene, then I will get, the next time I start up Blender, I get all these mess. Before you save your startup file, you might want to go to clean up recursive unused data blocks. So that will clean up your Blender file. So we don't have any mess around here. You can, you can also check if I do this, for example, I believe, then let me think, yeah, I go over here. Alright. Oh yeah, wait. So now do this and go to orphan data. For example, I had a mesh a while ago, deleted it, but it's still there. I mean, yeah, the mesh is still there. And this is fake user. If I clean up this one is still there. But I have here, if I go to orphan data, this is a fake user, and actually I don't need it. If I do now clean up and do this one, now it's gone. So yeah, if you want to have a real clean startup file, you can go to orphan data and check if you really need the fake users, like that. Oh yeah, now let's go to the next step. So we have one workspace, as good as possible, completely perfect. And now you want to duplicate the name. Let's find a video I made. So that is, yeah, make one space perfect, and naming tabs. Let's go over here, let's see that. In the next video then, yeah, here I want to have like a tab like general mod for modeling. I want to have a workspace for material assets, artifice, characters, physics, fun, but I forgot here one, this animation. But you can, yeah, you can make your own list, and then you see here that I have one tab general, that's perfect. And now, yeah, I am renamed to agenda, that's enough for me. I know what that means for me. So, and then next I right click on it, and then you duplicate that. So, and then you rename that. So you have workspaces with a good start, meaning you start up with shading a view you want. For example, most likely you want to start with material preview, you want to have sizes like that, etc. You want to have the there's a panel, I think there's a T panel, because T panel is the N panel. T panel, I don't like it because it's messing up. And what I also did was, what I also did was, normally by default you have, over here, the navigate. I found that a little bit distracting with those 4 buttons here. I never use it. and then I have this big one, and sometimes it's good in the way sometimes I don't like it there. Seems to be smaller now anyway, but well, I remove that, and instead of that I use an empty there, so I know where I am. So you see this y, that is the positive y, and the x, positive x. So this should be this view like that, not like this, but like that. As you can see here. So your viewport should be something like that, or this, it doesn't matter, but this rotation. Because if you add a cube like that, scale x, this is how you have to rotate your viewport. So I turn that off, and instead of that I put an empty there, so I know. And yeah, this empty doesn't take much space. Those are just very thin lines and doesn't distract me. I like that more, but that's up to you, of course. The next one, I forgot something, and that was I hope come back. It's not really important, but handy. That's what I know. Yeah, duplicate the workspace and name each workspace. I give them short names because there are quite some tabs, and if they have long names like geometry nodes, then you end up here and then I have to scroll. So I don't like that, and I know what archive means, and I know what char means. Not a text character, but character in my case, like that. Then I save the startup file. Yeah, everything you change something like that, you have all your tabs set up like this. Then yeah, save your startup file. Otherwise, you have to do it again the next time you start it. So if you do a lot of work, you prepare something, you will want to save your startup file. And then after that, once I have that all done like this, and perfectly like that, then I install all the add-ons. In my case, I had 151 enabled add-ons. I think that's this video. Installing all the add-ons took 25 minutes. They're just, and you see, the longer the video takes, you see the end panel gets more crowded. So, and at the end of the video you cannot see anything anymore, just a few letters. Yeah, and then next, you want to, yeah, then we install the end panel manager. Something is important there. So if you install the I don't like this. If you install the end panel manager, so you've set up this all. If you install the end panel manager, you go to preferences, add-ons, then you click install. You navigate to the end panel file you just downloaded, and then you click on install. I describe it here. So I describe it here. You do that, those steps, and then it can happen that you enabled the end panel manager on and you don't see it here. And why might that be? That might be because the add-on is not enabled if you have a workspace filter on. So you look up then end panel manager. Maybe you can find it here. Yeah, so that has to be enabled like that. And if ever you see here unknown add-ons, you uncheck that and save your startup file. So every time you change something important, then you you save your style file. Then the next one is install all your favorite add-ons here. Yeah, mPanel is unreadable. Then you install the mPanel manager, enable it in workspace, even if this important step. Use the mPanel manager to turn on alright. Yeah, so you have this all set up. You go to the mPanel manager, then you click the first time you see populate list, I think. I've done that already. So I see here the all list, and then you see all the workspaces. So if I use workspace user filter, but the problem with the enabling the mPanel manager on, if the mPanel manager is not enabled in here, even when you turn this off, like when we turn this off, and then we look for panel. Yeah, yeah. So even when the filter is not on, you have to enable the mPanel manager over here. Then the next time you put the filter on, the workspace filter, then the mPanel manager will be visible here. And we try to automate it in the future if it's possible. I think it's possible. We will have done an update so you don't have to do that. But once set up and you do that, you then yeah, you can work with the mPanel manager. Did I forget something? Oh yeah, so yeah, you see then all the workspace, and you decide where do I want to have my filter on. I created these workspaces, so I want to enable them there. So you see gen mod assets. So I want to enable it in gen. Alright. Oh, wait, gen. You see, if I don't filter my workspace over here, then so in gen mod, so I want those workspaces I created, I put a filter on, and then for each add-on I can click here, for example stored views, and I decide, oh, where do I want to have my stored views and what workspace do I want to enable that. Then I can check that here, so I can decide, oh, I want the workspace view, oh, what was it called, stored views, enabled in Addon, workspace Addon, and Archviz also not here, and character, for example. So you can do that here instead of need to go to this tab and enable it down and go to the other tab, etc. So I did a lot of changes, some changes, and I don't want to save my starter file, so I click on new, so I have my original setup as I want to have it. Well, I think that's quite a long video. Yeah, I hope it's very useful. It's a bit unorganized because there's a lot I want to talk about. I will see how how I'm going to publish this video. Thanks for watching, and yeah, if you have questions, you know how to reach out to us. So if you go to About and you scroll down, you see how to contact us. You can go to Ask a Question here. But in order to see that, you need to be logged in. or you can go to the Discord server, or you can contact us at the Twitter. Alright, so thanks for watching, see you.